Well, you can't avoid it. Bad days and setbacks, all part of life. Mentally painful, enough to break you, and you will be broken at times. There's times in your life that you just can't help it. You're going to have bad days and you're going to go through some things that are a setback. Sometimes they'll be self induced, meaning you caused them. Sometimes they will be outside of your control. They both hurt. Okay, life can hurt. Life can suck. You can wish you were dead. There's going to be days where you're happy to be alive, things are going great, and there's going to be days that you question who would create such a world, and you start to think about not just the bad day, but every bad thing that has happened throughout your life. And as you get older, you have more bad memories, so it's a little bit harder. But however, you just accept that this is part of life. Okay, so you have to kind of like catch yourself from falling too deep down into that dark space mentally, whether it was a self-induced bad day or whether something was outside of your control. You have to catch yourself, okay? And because it's just self-care is part of it is saying, look, everyone's going through this. I am responsible to stop myself. No one else can make this go away, So what I could share with you is just part of life. Okay. You're not abnormal. You're not abnormal dealing with a bad day. There's going to be bad people, but a lot of times in life, it's not bad people. It's just, self-induced. I mean, I think let's start there. Self-induced is your actions caused you to have a bad day. Start there because life is about taking accountability for what you can control. That's how you push forward, okay? And that's how you can recognize when you are ready to correct that behavior and then try to move past it. Now, there's going to be times in your life where you're not ready, okay? You're just not ready to correct the behavior that has caused you to have a bad day. And I understand that. And as I get older, I appreciate more that everyone is going to pretty much do what they want. Okay. And so am I. And that's just part of life. And then so you have a greater level of acceptance of life and you stop trying to control things that are outside of your control. And you get a greater perspective on life that you want to be grateful. And Marcy just touched on it. Or Marcel, forgive me. She was driving and her tire exploded. She's grateful. She's okay. Good comment. Good comment. And thank you, Tony. Good to see you. Chosen by God. Good to see you. Good comment, Marcy. That's where I was going with it. Gratitude. To get a step back. When you have a setback, step back. Okay. And look at how bad is life really. Now, do you still have your health? Be thankful for that. Good to see you, Kristen. I've been praying for you. I know it's not easy when you move to a new state. You're going to question yourself. Throughout life, especially as you get older, you're going to question yourself. If you're looking for something to make life always okay. Now, I think minimalism helps you alleviate some of the mental burdens of life, but I'm not going to lie to you. Nothing fully eliminates it. Okay, so I don't want you to get to a point where you move to the area that inspires you, you have less stuff, and you still have a bad day. You're still going to have bad days no matter what. However, you are doing the right thing by minimizing stress in other areas, such as your amount of belongings, your amount of financial entanglement, your amount of, relationships that are unhealthy. Again, you should have some relationships if you can find some good people. But what I want to share with you is just, focus on getting through the day. A bad day that's a day. You're going to have another good day and you're going to have another bad day. Just put whatever it was behind you as best you can. Not easy, but that's what you have to do. Okay. The goal of every day is to get through the day as best you can. Focus on what you're grateful for. What you're grateful for. Focus on letting go, because again, when it's self-induced specifically, we tend to beat ourselves up And then it's a chain reaction of not just that thing, but everything that we've done wrong throughout life. Okay. And then we become our worst enemy. You have to be your best friend, not your worst enemy. You're going to have plenty of enemies in the real world. Okay. Even though, again, I acknowledge that I think the majority of people are decent and they're not out to hurt you. They're just trying to do the same thing you are. They're trying to get through the day and trying to stay positive. Anthony says, I learned today bad days are sometimes controlled by our diet. Look, how you feel, good comment, how you feel definitely affects, physically how you feel affects your emotions and your mental state. That can help. Mind, body, and soul is how you have to look at life. Part of life is your mental health. Part of life is your physical health. Part of life is your spiritual well-being. And then there's some part of life that's just a mystery. You can't explain it. There's no exact science to life. There's science, but there's also art. Going for a walk for me is helpful, but as I get older, I could walk less. I'm trying to tell you, it's amazing. Beautiful weather today in South Florida, and it's still, as I go for a walk, I said, man, I feel my legs. I do. Put a lot of miles on my legs. But I'm thankful. Okay, why? I'm thankful that I can walk. I'm thankful that I am in Florida, and I'm catching myself. Okay, because guys, you can easily seduce yourself into sadness. Okay, but you also have to aggressively push yourself past the painful memory, the painful day, and you got to go. Okay, nothing you can do about it now. Bad days and setbacks are all part of life. Doesn't matter who you are or what range of life. Now, for some people that are really struggling in life, a bad day is horrible because there's a lot of other things that are causing stress in their life, and I empathize with that. All I can encourage you to do is just take it one step at a time to try to make your life a little bit better. Marcy says, gratitude in the Creator, I believe she says, in letting go everything I experience and replenish. Look, spiritual well-being and letting go is a huge part of mental health. You're going to have to. It's not easy. I totally understand why certain people just can't handle the stress of life. I get it. I'm not, going to talk down to you like I don't understand. However, I'll share with you a level of empathy because I feel what you feel, and I understand some people feel more pain than others because it's just very tough. However, once we share, then we have to say, all right, got to go forward. Because for me, it's like more mental pain if we're talking about when someone has a bad day, you have to learn, hear them out, but then change the subject a little bit because if you talk about it too much, it's going to just continue to hurt you. Okay. So you got to go forward. Tony says, he quoted me. He goes, you have to be your own best friend, not your worst enemy. Good thought, Sam. Yeah, it's a discipline. It really is. Tom, what's up, Tom? He goes, I quit dairy and my testosterone went up and my energy level went up. Made a huge difference in my everyday well-being. Well, sounds like to me, man, you did the natural Viagra, which is eating healthier. Now, look, will quitting dairy totally change your life? No, but it's one little step that could possibly. Now, almond milk and soy milk, they can have higher levels of sugar, so you have to be cautious of that. But dairy, definitely with regards to ice cream, is a huge win if you can cut that out of your life because ice cream is nothing but a bowl of cholesterol and fatty milk. Tippy toe. Letting go is hard. Oh, it's damn hard. Life's hard. Some days life is beautiful. And some days life is hard. All part of the journey. Kristen. She goes, I was in the dark place the past few days. I felt for you. I was praying for you. I could feel it. I think about that every day. That's the tough part about having YouTube. There's a rewarding part, but there's a tough part. I feel and I think about everyone who leaves a comment and like those voices kind of like swirl in my head. And that's why I'm very cautious. Like, how many conversations can I have with how many people? Because, I just, I can't destroy my own mental health trying to save other people. It's a tough balance. I want to encourage other people. I want to be a light. However, I can only do so much because I still have my own bad days. And so, that's tough, but let's continue to read her comment. She goes, I was in a dark place the past few days. I made myself go to a local park and walk. Good. Walking is key. It's amazing how much better I feel. I agree. Just getting out in public, get that fresh air, good. And getting fresh air, good, can do wonders. I totally agree. If you have the physical capacity, guys, go outside and walk. If it's cold, bundle up. And everyone in the Northeast, you guys have been experiencing a warm, mild winter from talking to my mom and looking at the weather up there. So now, again, nothing like Florida, but still it's better than it's not snowing every day. Lila, did you see my comment earlier today about my home? Yes, your update, thank you. And your friend living on my own future, my debit card, SSI money, buying house insurance, take care, healthcare. Well, Zach, like I say, every comment I read that you write, the bottom line is you're always trying to do the best you can to push forward in life. So I appreciate that about you, whether it's Christmas lights or, just being a positive person. I appreciate that about you, and I want the best for you. Tony, you can easily seduce yourself into sadness. I'm trying to tell you, it's like your life is a Sade song sometimes. And see, I love Sade. She's a soul singer. However, if you listen to too much, it's like sometimes it's soothing, but then sometimes it's seduction into sadness. If you're not careful, another good one. Yep. Guys, be very careful not to seduce yourself into sadness, because on your bad days, you have to be extra good to yourself. Tony, put that on a t-shirt. On your bad days, you have to be extra good to yourself. And that doesn't mean taking yourself to, go buy a bucket of ice cream, even though, look, got to treat yourself. But like Kristen, going for a walk, like, who was that said they got rid of Dairy Tom, getting rid of, just trying to, look, when in doubt, self-care. When in doubt, don't buy. When in doubt, self-care. Minimalism helps. Taking care of yourself physically helps, but nothing is going to make you immune to this world. Okay, there's always going to be like they're talking about that one disease or whatever in China, the carniculus or whatever it's called. I don't know. But guys, life is the carniculus. It's like, thank God that you don't have that. Thank God that you're not struggling with a debilitating bacteria. So again, back to what Marcy's saying, try to find something you can be grateful for. Try to push yourself to go for a walk. Try to eat a little bit healthier. And we try to get through the day. It does pass, depending on how bad the day was. It may take a little bit longer to pass, but like I said, there was a period of my life where I was one of my low points. Just like 6 months, I was in a funk, man. And every day, like my dog had died. I got out of a breakup. I didn't know what I was doing next with my life. I just felt lost. I mean, even now, sometimes I feel lost living as a nomad. It's like, what am I really doing? What's my next thing? I mean, I have enough life experience to know that like nothing is going to solve life. Like, I'm not trying to say like making adjustments won't make life a little bit better, and I may, but I know that home base will not avoid a bad day. If anything, if I'm having a bad day and something goes wrong with my home base, that may make something even worse. I know that, having some healthy relationships is good, but, sometimes when you have a bad day, you think someone else would make your life better. Kristen, a wide guy going for a walk and blowing a kiss to all the beautiful girls. Thank you, Kristen, for the $2.99 super chat. I appreciate that. Those hearts are pretty cute. Thank you, Kristen. Sometimes you think, that you have a bad day. You think, well, maybe if I was in a relationship, it would be better. I'd have someone to cheer me up. However, it's good to have like friends and people that, care about you equally. However, don't forget, if you have a bad day and the person you're in a relationship have a bad day, it's not going to make your bad day better. It may make it even worse. I never forget one of the girls I was dating told me, she goes, Sam, you like the idea of a relationship, but not the reality. Cameron, hey you, my Patreon and my Super Chat guy with a sunglass guy jamming and turning around. I appreciate that, Cameron. I appreciate your support, brother. You've been a blessing to me. And I want to thank you. Shout out to Kansas, man. Shout out to Kansas. God bless you, brother. She said, Sam, sometimes you like the idea of a relationship, but not the reality. And the idea I was having was like after a long day, after a bad day, you snuggle up, you kiss her on her forehead, and you have a good night. But the reality is that's not the reality. They got a job or they're doing something with their life. Sure, there's some nights that are like that, but most nights aren't. Most nights are you're trying to deal with your own stuff at work or in your own personal goals. They're trying to do the same thing because two people are trying to become one, even if you're not married, and that's like impossible. Because look, people can support each other, but we're different. We have a different fingerprint. We can be bonded in love, but let's be honest, love is a fleeting thing. Life is fleeting. So it's very hard, even my mom, I mean, if you're blessed enough to have a good mom, that's the closest thing you may get to God, your mom's love. But, that too, you need your own personal space. You need to become your own person, because if you spend enough time with your mom or your father, you realize like that's not the answer either. There's a certain part of life that you just have to go out there and feel and go through. And that sometimes that can make you resentful towards your parents. Like, why'd you even give me birth in this world that's constantly pain? Now, again, this is just one bad day, right, though? So you may have a month of 29 good days and one bad day, but that one bad day, it makes you start cursing your parents for having you. It makes you start questioning God. It makes you start... That's what one bad day can do to the psyche, because it's a very powerful thing to be struggling in your mind. Very powerful. And that's why I tell you guys, you got to be very careful to protect your energy, to protect your well-being. Minimalism, a diet, a level of spirituality, those all things that will assist you in your journey. Nothing is going to cure you of the pain of the world. So all you're trying to do is make your life better, to live your best life, but there's nothing that's perfect. Juliana says, hey Sam, hello to you, shout out to Australia. Nomad life has definitely worn me out at times. Yeah, I hear that. It's nice to have a home base in a location that inspires you. I agree with that. But also the flexibility to move. That's true. I have been wrestling with that. I mean, like I have been wrestling with it since I've been down to Florida. It's a mixed feeling. And, that's too what can bring you a lot of pain, is you don't know really what to do. Because I know that, I know that buying property is not going to solve life. You still have bad days. However, adding some comfort to life is wisdom, and having a level of a sanctuary. But I'm trying to debate in my mind how entangled I want to get, how much commitment I want to make. And it's a little scary. Because I do look at buying property like getting married. I do. However, look, everything you're scared of, you have to take it one step at a time. But for me, I mean, I'm still very at peace with the amount of my life. I'm very thankful. And I know what human nature is. It's life is constant change. So in one sense, I breathe easy with not a lot of responsibility, In one sense, yeah, I have the idea of being in a home base, whether it's an RV lot or a tiny house, and relaxing and maybe even doing a live feed from there. But at the other time, I say, Sam, I know what it's going to be. It's not going to be just the idea. It's going to be the reality, which the reality is of having property is it's a responsibility. There's some maintenance, even an RV lot. There's some entanglement, and nothing's perfect. So I'm still talking that out. It's tough to get. Like I said, there's walls in your mind. Like I got to, a wall when I had, I was obese and I lost a bunch of weight. Now, initially, I didn't set out to totally lose 200 pounds. I just set out to try to eat healthier. And then gradually through my journey, I lost more and more weight. And then I got down to 150 pounds. I was damn near anorexic for my bone structure and my height. And it was I got to a wall mentally where it was I was scared to eat anything, because I didn't want to go back to this dark place of never being satisfied with food, just eating more and more. Because I know that the hardest part about losing weight is not losing some, especially when you're eating like a disaster like I was, but it's sustaining it off and creating a lifestyle that totally pushes you away from that unhealthy behavior. So, I mean, eventually I got over that wall, because I said, well, damn, I said, life isn't worth living if I'm this disciplined all the time. I eventually have to eat a little bit more, that I have to have some level of enjoyment in food, not to the point where I was overindulging, where I would just totally eat everything that I wanted at every time. But if you just eat enough to live, and that's what I was doing for a couple of years, it's you might as well not be alive. I mean, you have to have some pleasure in life. Yeah. And that's why I go back to a home base. I mean, you have to have some comfort. Now, you don't need to own property to have comfort, and you don't need to be obese to enjoy food. The balance is something that we're all struggling in life to To have more good days than bad days means that your life's in a great balance. Okay. Now, the tough part about balance is it's an individual thing. We're all individuals, and life is constantly changing. So the scales of balancing your life is a constant work in progress, So let's get back to some of the live comments. Thank you again, Kristen and Cameron. Appreciate you very much. Marcy says, proxy for the virus of oregano, colado silver for chemtrails to remove heavy metals. Yeah, I don't know. I hear people talking about chemtrails. I don't know if I don't believe in that. I'm not trying to say I know for sure it's true or not. At this point, I would say I don't believe in that. I'm not studied up on it big. And I just look at that like something I really can't control. But I hear you, Kristen. Sam, are you still working remotely? Yes. For the same company? Yes. That you work for in Jersey? Yes. That's the other part that I fear. Like if I get laid off, I'm going to have to get another static job, and it'd probably be in South Florida. But then if I get laid off and I have to get another job, the chances of me being able to get a mortgage get pushed back another couple months, if not years, because, when you go to get a mortgage, they're looking to see that you've been working consecutively. So now if I get one, it'd be good. But at the same time, if I get laid off, then, there's, I don't know. I mean, you have to have an emergency fund, but I think about that. Is now the time to strike to get a mortgage while I have consistent work record and I'm in middle age? Because I know as you get older, the workforce, you're less employable and things like that. But, I still work, I would say, in a little bit of a volatile industry. So technology. So it's like, I don't know, man. I fear a little bit that as soon as I commit to a mortgage, God forbid something happens with my job, and then I just feel like I'm all alone again and I got to go back to zero. So I don't know, I struggle with that, But yes, that's still the case. AI Gaming. Hey, Sam, good to see you, man. Shout out to Canada. Lala, my bad day was bad seizures. So I'm sorry to hear that, but thank you for sharing. And stressed me out. I could understand that. And I need to go for a walk. Good job. 20 minutes a day. Good job. The property, good job around your property with a good attitude. That's why I like you, Zach. But ride my four-wheeler. Okay, be safe. And more good, bad, uncomfortable. Zach, a.k.a. Lila, God bless you. You're a positive person. Kristen, by the way, the tiny house that I'm renting in Tampa is awesome. Good. I wish it was easier to attain one of my own, but it's been a great experience. Well, Kristen, I think you did the right thing that when you move, Kristen moved from upstate New York to Florida. Now, when you move to a different state, I know it may not be ideal, but I think you want to rent for at least a year. I know it's frustrating to rent because you feel like you're not owning anything, you're just spending money. But Kristen, the way you're going to see that there's a lot of different neighborhoods. You're going to get tired of certain neighborhoods. And even if you like the exact area you're in, again, buying property, if you're able to do it, is such a big commitment. And it puts you, even though like you say, well, buying property is great, that means but it also makes you more liable. And if God forbid you get laid off or something happens, you don't have as much flexibility as someone who's renting. The biggest pro to renting is flexibility. The biggest pro to owning is you build up equity over time. However, you only get that equity back when you sell your house. And then when you sell your house, what are you going to do? Most people sell their house, retire in a state they love, and then downsize. That's what happens. Tony, that's great that you made the move. Amen. Look, making the move is part of it. Plan, research, take the action, and then figure it out as you go. Good job. Hope you keep us up on how it goes. Yes, Kristen, you're inspiring people. Look, many people have a desire to change states. A lot of people want to come to Florida. But even if it's not Florida, just changing states is a very hard thing. Leaving your family behind, being by yourself. Now, I'm by myself in Florida. I do have some friends that I knew back in the day from Florida, but I kind of lost touch with everyone. I don't know. It's just a point in my life where I don't know. I mean, for me, I kind of engineered my life being by myself. And I prefer it that way, but it's a little bit of an eerie feeling too. Cameron, what do you think? And are you scared of the virus that's going around? No, I'm not scared. However, if there was, if it hit home, no one, you're never scared until it really hits close to home. Like if the town you're in, all of a sudden, like 5 people get it, then you would be scared. However, I remember years ago there was what was it, the Sears virus or something. There was a couple different viruses back in the day. SARS, what was it, SARS or something like that? Who remembers that? So there's been viruses like that throughout time, at least that I've been alive. So yeah, SARS. Thank you, Tony. And I remember everyone was freaking out about that. Again, could it escalate and it get scary? Of course, but I can't control that. So for me, I try to focus on what can I control. And the bad days when they're self-inflicted, that's what I want to work on. As far as like a virus, even though it may be a real thing, there's nothing I can do to control that other than watch myself in Starbucks when people start coughing. And that makes me a little nervous. That does. Milano, Sammy, hot today. It was a beautiful day in South Florida today, 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Still cool enough at night where I don't need air conditioning. But that is, that starts to work on my mind. What do I want to, I don't want to go through another summer without air conditioning. However, I don't know how much entangled I want to get with property or RV. Eventually, I got to bite the bullet one way or another. Either I'm going to suffer again or I'm going to commit to something. So I don't know, man. Pray for me. Cameron, 63 million people. Oh, is that how many people have it in China? Wow, I didn't know that many. Is it always fatal? I don't know enough about it. You sure that's how many people have it? I know, well, in China, there's like 1.3 billion people. Population-wise, in America, there's about 350 million. So if which 1% of 1.3 billion? What's that, like 130,000? So basically, percentage-wise, if 63 million people have that virus, that's less than 1%. So if they have 1.3 billion people, right, because 10% of that would be, oh wait, is that right? Yeah, 10% would be 130 million. So 63 million would be less than 1%. So percentage-wise, that's still a very small percentage of the population. Tony? Yep, thank you. Scotty B, SARS too, thank you. Yeah, I knew it was something like that. Thank you, guys. Christian? Thank you, Ed Tony. You're always so nice and supportive. I will update you periodically. There's a lot to be said for privacy. When you have a bad day, you don't want to share much of your life. That's true. For me, like there's some days I don't want to go live or don't want to do a video. But for me, I put a lot of work into the channel and part of my staple is being consistent. Like that's really like, so, and I'm thankful for that. I mean, it gives me a little bit of peace of mind. One is, for a side hustle. And then two is, for a level to vent at the end of the day or share my thoughts and connect in a way where I can have a relationship without being too entangled. So, that's the double purpose for me with YouTube. And so it's like, like that's why I kind of look like with a home base. Like I'm looking for some comfort, but not enough to be like totally committed to it. So like, that's YouTube is like, it gives you some level of relationship without all the entanglement. That's true. Let's take a hydration break. Guys, if you don't mind, click that thumbs up button, share the video, subscribe if you're not. Kristen and Cameron, thank you again for the super chat. Tony, positive self-talk and affirmation is important technique to regulate your mood. It's true. It's not easy. Like, when you're in the army or something, like, you're taught all these things so that when the bullets fly, you kind of like have good habits. So for me, the best habit I have is when I'm having a bad day, I go for a walk extra. However, like even when I was going for a walk today, I had a bad day. Like I was like talking negative to myself. I had to keep catching myself. I was like, fuck it, Sam, come on, man, don't be stupid. So, even me, I know better. I'm disciplined. You know what I mean? All that. But it's still hard. You got to catch yourself very hard. And then I guess, it does go back to, which I do, I guess, believe in the scriptures that, love is the greatest gift. I mean, you can have a lot of wisdom, which to some areas I have, but I still make a lot of mistakes. But even if you have wisdom, when you're at your darkest moments in life, what you tend to remember is love. Because when you have a bad day, it's like you feel stupid, even if you feel smart other days. So when you have a bad day, you feel stupid even if you think you're wise. And then the only thing you can really think of to comfort you is love. And saying you usually think about if you had a good mother or something like that, some type of thing in your life that, makes you feel, loved. That's true. Real 100% owner. Why are you always in South Florida? Because that's what inspires me the most. What's up with Tampa? I've been to Tampa, Orlando, been there, and I've been to Jacksonville. When I first came to Florida, when I started visiting a couple years ago, I did videos. I traveled pretty much the entire state of Florida other than the Panhandle. So I just found for me, my personality, I like Southeast Florida the most. When I go away from there, it's exciting to travel a little bit, but then I get frustrated because I just don't feel at home. And that's why I am at a point where I think I may be ready for a home base, but in one sense I'm not, because I don't want the entanglement. But again, I mean, I've been on the road full-time 3 years. For a big portion of that, I just traveled up and down the East Coast. For a portion of that, I just stayed in New Jersey when I had an office job. And when I got down to Florida, I just traveled around Florida to see what areas I like best. So I don't have a vision to go anywhere else. I don't want to. Everyone's different, though. Some people may want to. But most people will never be 3 years full-time on the road. So, you may be a truck driver. So when you're a truck driver, if you have a job that kind of forces you to go certain places. But if you weren't forced to go to certain places, most people will not just travel aimlessly unless that's their job, even if it's a YouTube creator. There's YouTubers that are nomads that do travel aimlessly, but they may enjoy it, but it's also their job if that's their full-time job is YouTube. So not many people in society, other than retirees, and they only do it for about a year or 2 years, or someone going through a transition, travel aimlessly. Most people will travel for a vacation or on the weekends or at a season of their life anywhere from 1 to 3 years. But after a certain period of time, people want to settle in. Why? Because humans are creatures of habit. And there's certain areas that are going to inspire you more than others. And then when you're not in the areas that inspire you more than others, you say, well, why am I here? Why am I in an area that doesn't inspire me when I can be in an area that does? So I think about that like, I could be in California right now or New Jersey, but do I want to? Not really. Not really. There is something to be said, like, after a certain period of time, I do get tired of the area I'm in. I don't know. But those are my thoughts. Let's continue. Cameron, Sam, Trump may contain us to 10 confirmed cases in the U.S. Well, only 10 people is less than 0.0001% of society. So I think 10 people die in 10 minutes in a car accident. So again, always take a step back from the news media, which is just trying to pump fear and drama across the airwaves because that's what sells. And many videos on YouTube, same thing. Like that's what sells: drama, fear, sex, new RVs. 10 people out of 350 million is nothing. Now, again, love and respect to those 10 people. I don't want to diminish their hurt. But that's how you have to look at it. You have to take a step back. Like same thing with terrorism. Like I remember when everyone was like fearful of terrorism, but it's like the amount of people percentage wise that die from terrorism versus car accidents or cigarettes or diabetes is like nothing. However, it's more exciting to think about. You think about the movie Outbreak and you think like, your whole state is going to get quarantined and then they're going to drop the nuclear bomb on you to contain it from the rest of society. So but you can't control that. So but thank you for sharing, brother. Kristen, she goes, I'm in Tampa. St. Petersburg is where I want to be. Okay, it's beautiful. Well, there you go. And go where you feel most inspired. Sometimes we can't go there right away, but at least you have a direction for what your goal is. Tony, that's not right at all. Only 7,000 people in the world would have it. What do you mean? I don't know. I'm lost. I don't understand that comment. Tom, I am in Kentucky. Living in an RV or tiny house is looked down upon here. Who cares? As long as you're not hurting anyone, don't worry what anyone thinks. When I went to Florida, it seemed cool. I would definitely say too, the same aspect in New Jersey. When I was in New Jersey, the RV lifestyle is not prevalent because of the weather and there's not a lot of campgrounds. In Florida, RV culture is big because you have the all year warm temperature and a lot of people prefer to live mobile because one of the negatives about living in Florida is hurricane season. So if your house is on wheels, RV or whatever, you can get up and move. Or if you have a tiny house, there's not that much liability if it blows away. However, if you have a tiny house, you're going to be paying more homeowners insurance. If you have an RV, you don't have to worry about that homeowners insurance. However, a tiny house would appreciate better and an RV would depreciate. So you have to think about all those things. Let's continue to read your comment. And then he goes, when I went to Florida, it seemed cool. It is. And normal people in the RV parks had Starbucks. Yeah, nightlife, so it doesn't matter. There's a lot of people that are living in an RV or tiny house or mobile home in Florida that have big money. Now, certainly you're going to see your poor people, and certainly you're going to see your middle class people, because life is pretty much life everywhere you go. However, there are certain states in America that the RV culture is more prevalent. And I would definitely say Florida and California and Texas are your top states. Why? Not politics, because Florida, Texas, and California all have different politics. The similarities that they have in Arizona is they all have an overall all year round warm climate. And when you live in an RV, for the most part, you don't want to deal with a brutal winter because your RVs aren't insulated. And, you know, you're outside more. An RV is usually small. And you have to have enough campgrounds. So what I can tell you is there's a lot of campgrounds in Florida, there's a lot in Texas, and there's a lot in California. So for that reason, if you said, Sam, what are the top 3 states? I'll do a video on that. I'll do that maybe tomorrow. What are the top 3 states in America for RVing? I would say Florida, Texas, and California. Well, let's say 4. I will also say Arizona. Florida, Texas, Arizona, and California. Those would be the top. Are there more? Of course. But they're all southern states, and they all have all year round warm climate with different politics. So it's nothing to do with politics. It's just the climate. The climate produces a lifestyle that's very much nomadic. However, just remember that you are most inspired not just with climate, but also with culture. What is culture? Culture is people, things, and an atmosphere. So Texas has a different culture than Florida. Florida has a different culture than Arizona. Arizona has a different culture than California. Which one is good or bad? It's all individual based on who you are, what you like, and the vibe that you like. Southeast Florida is way different than Tampa Bay, than West Coast of Florida. How do I know? Because I visited both, and they just have a different culture. Now, you may love West Coast. I may love the East Coast. It's just individual based on, who we are as individuals. It's got to be. Does thumbs up or thumbs down affect your funds generated by YouTube? No, not at all. Views, how many people view your videos, the number one. But for every 1,000 views, I think you get what, 1 penny or something like that, or $1? $1 ad revenue. So ad revenue, it takes about 1 million views to get $1,000. So it's all about views. Thumbs up, the only thing the thumbs up does is over time, if you get a lot of thumbs up, it puts you in an algorithm where YouTube will suggest your videos to other people. They say the thumbs down doesn't count because it all counts as a positive towards people engaging in your video. So that supposedly, I don't know if it's true or not, supposedly say it doesn't matter if they give you a thumbs up or thumbs down because it shows that people either love you or hate you. And if they care enough to watch your video and click something, you engage them enough to be passionate. However, in my opinion, I would think the algorithm gives you more of a rating better if you have more thumbs up. Because I would tend to believe, if I'm being honest, that they would recommend more videos that have more thumbs up than thumbs down. However, there's no exact science. An algorithm is a mathematical formula, but no one knows it other than Google, and there's so many different variables that no one knows. But I always tell you guys, you'll see if you have a YouTube channel, you're going to do it a year for free. Then after you do it for a year, it's going to be minimum wage. Your biggest blessing is going to be super chats, PayPal or Patreon, or some type of an affiliate program. Why? Because you'll see if you do it, the ad revenue is great and it's a blessing, but it's very hard. Most of my videos only get a couple hundred views. However, I'm thankful that I have anything. Why? Because I put a lot of time and effort to upload a video every day, to do a live stream every day. And it blesses me in a side hustle, and it also blesses me where I can use my gift. I can share my life, and I can connect with other people without being entangled in a relationship. However, Just like everything, some days I have bad days on YouTube. I get frustrated with people. I don't want to do it. I try to keep showing up because I remember to treat it like a job, not like, some type of thing like I'll just upload whenever I want. So, that's kind of how the whole YouTube thing breaks down. Cameron? No, Sam, 63 million quarantined. Oh, okay. Thank you. In China, not affected as we know. Okay, thank you for the correction, Cameron. Tony? 5 people in the U.S. have contacted it. Thank you, Tony. Cameron says 10, Tony. Juliana? Comfort, climate control. Yep, I agree with this. Comfort, climate control, minimal commitment, and flexibility to move if there is a hurricane. Good comment. Imminent is what I've heard from you consistently, Sam. Well, thank you. Juliana, you're a very wise woman. I got a lot of respect for you. I mean, that's why I tend to go to the RV lot. However, just like you said, Juliana, the RV lot is not as inspiring as a tiny home as far as the location. The tiny home is a little bit more, got the water view, and everything's there. Like, I don't have to do anything. The RV lot, I'm going to have to get an RV. It's not going to appreciate as much because it doesn't have as great a view. I got more flexibility, but I'm going to have to tow that RV on and off the lot every year. And I don't have a tow vehicle. I have to rent a vehicle. Then I have to put that thing in storage unit. And then, so I don't know. And that's why I've defaulted to nothing. Because, if I already had an RV, then it'd be like, all right, well, I have an RV. Time to go to the RV lot. So I don't know, man. I got to think. I don't know, man. It's tough. But either way, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for my health. I'm thankful that I even have the option to get it if possible. Corey says, hey, Sam, still thinking about the RAV4 hybrid? I am. Because that would still, if I do that, I'm saying to myself, Sam, you're recommitting to the fully nomadic life for another few years. And I don't know if I want to do that, to be honest. I don't know. And I also know that they're coming out with the electric prime version in the summer. So I don't know if I'd want that if I go that route. I have to determine, do I still want to sleep in a car every night for another 3 years? Or do I want to not just add climate control? Do I want to add either a small travel trailer and just go to 1,000 Trails Parks, get an RV lot, or just say, Sam, pay off your Jeep, get the tiny house, and you're going to have to pay fucking a house insurance on it. But if it gets blown away, that's what your house insurance is for. I don't know. There's, in one sense, I just kind of want to get this damn Jeep paid off and not have bills. But it's like my Jeep is like not made. Thank God there's no mechanical issues that are falling apart. But like my visor's starting to break. I got certain things that are starting to like come apart on the Jeep. I got 150,000 miles on it. It's been beat up a little bit, but I got my money's worth out of it. But it still would be good. So if I pay it off and I could keep riding it, it'd still be good. But I got to get climate control. Because I got to say to myself, Sam, I'm working my job. I'm working YouTube. I'm doing everything. I don't want to live like, a primitive person like that's suffering for no reason. However, something in my mind likes not having any commitments. And it's like I have to balance comfort and commitments. I'll do a video on that. So for every comfort requires a commitment. Okay. And I hate commitments, but also I have to be conscious of my health. And as I get older, I don't want to be sweating in my car at night. I don't want to be always on the road. Being on the road is the most dangerous thing. And more, you're going to see that that's the part that I don't know. So I got to keep talking it out, man. I don't know the answer yet. I'm still struggling with that, but thank you for making me think. Let's continue to read. Tony, and the Western media loves to promote fear of China. All media, all throughout the country, even media in China or media in Russia, they're regulated by the government. So they'll promote whatever China, Russia, or Syria, or Iran want them to promote. So America technically is one of the only free media society. The First Amendment right guarantees the right of a media not pressured by the government. Okay. Now the problem with the media is they're run by corporations and they're basically run off revenue. So they're just like a newspaper is. They want to get as many people watching as they can. Same thing as a YouTube channel. because the more views, the more money they get on ad revenue. However, look, guys, society almost asked for it. If the news media only played like positive news stories, most people would not watch. Okay? How do I know this? Because when I'm on the road and a cop has someone pulled over, even if they have them pulled over and it's not bothering anyone else, a bunch of people stop and cause a traffic jam for no reason. And after waiting in traffic for a half hour and then I finally pass the cop, I say, why did everyone else stop? There was no reason to stop. Because everyone wants to look at drama. And again, I still think a lot of people are decent, but human nature, they like drama, period. And so, in one sense, the media is a reflection of society. And society likes drama, it's true. And so, but hopefully that it'll get better over time. Let's continue to read. AI gaming. I read only 2% of the carnivorous patients die. Okay, that's a good comment. I didn't know that. That is lower than SARS. Good comment, AI. At risk, elderly and very young. Great comment, AI. Never forget, the very young and the elderly are definitely always at risk higher. Why? Because their immune system is weaker, okay? When you're an infant, your immune system is not built up. When you're elderly, it's like a full cycle. Your immune system dies off. So when you're elderly, even the common cold can cause death. And that's why as you get older, you do want climate control. You do want a safe, secure environment. Just like when you're an infant. You wouldn't want to put an infant in a van and live in Florida without air conditioning. Why? Because guys, they need stability. Same thing with like an 85-year-old person. You wouldn't want to put them in a van and have them suffer in, I'm not saying you couldn't do it and survive, but you just make your odds, your risk higher. And so that's a great comment. Jay Bird, let me take hydration, mate. Jay Bird, hey, Kristen, I'm in St. Pete. I think it's great. I was born here. Well, that's good. Thank you, Jay Bird. Tony, I meant only 7,000 in the world have contacted the virus we are talking about. Thank you. Not 63 million. Thank you for sharing. I think Cameron corrected himself too. Thank you, Tony. And only in a few in the U.S. We should not panic about it. Thank you both for sharing. Sophie, hey, Sophie, how are you? Good to see you. Lada. Lifestyles living on my own in Salita. Buying home budget for me, $2,040. That's a lot of money. $2,000 a month, basically. I saw on Zillow house costs $130,000 in Venice. Housing is your biggest expense. It's true. Put plush max on house. That's the tough part. I mean, housing, look, the average rent in America is $1,200 a month just to rent. And so when you own, you got that cost plus insurance plus maintenance. So that's the difference between renting and owning. However, yeah, that's the average. Good job, Kristen. At Jay Bird, thanks for the positive comment. I can't wait to get settled and have a new home base. Luke, Sam, my man, positive vibes your way. Well, I appreciate that. I had a bad day. I hope you had a good day. I just arrived. Any new updates on living? Nah, man, that's what's that's what caused me. When I have a bad day too, I think about that now. Like in one sense, when I have a bad day, I say, well, I thank God that I don't have a lot to take care of. That makes it better. At the other time, I say, Sam, well, you're homeless. What are you doing? These are your thoughts that you have. He goes, what's your future looking like? Are you going to do this forever? I don't worry about it, but, it's something that you wrestle with in your mind. I have to be honest with you. And so right now, I got no new updates. And he goes, any purchases in the near future? Like I say, man, I don't know. I would like to have climate control. If I don't, at the same time, I'm probably going to visit my mom soon when the weather gets better up there. So I'm saying, Sam, if you go up to north in the summer, even though it gets hot some days, do you really need air conditioning? I don't know. But I don't really want to be up north, only to see my mom. I don't like the culture up there. And that's why, like, the one viewer asked me, like, 100% operator, like, why don't you travel? Now, I don't know. Maybe I'll try to visit California at one point. But other than my mom, I don't want to go back to New Jersey. I really don't. Luke, Tony, Cameron, you better wear surgeon masks. I've seen a couple people wear them today, believe it or not. When you visit those call girls, be careful. I'm not mad at that. Jaybird, at Kristen, my name is Julie. Reach out if you need a lifeline. Well, that's nice. Thank you, Julie. Ernie. Hello, all. What's up, Ernie? How you been, man? Luke. Always good to see you, my man. Same to you. Thank you for appreciating the live feeds, man. Luke. I think if you're making six figures, a 30 grand car is a drop in the bucket for you. Because you should have crazy savings, I would think. Well, it's true, but at the same time, I don't know if I want to recommit to the nomad life for another 3 years. And like I said, I do work in a volatile industry where there was layoffs in my company just a month ago. So at this point in my life, I'm trying to evaluate the future, not just what's going to get me through the next couple months or the next couple years. And it's like, as soon as you get your car paid off, do you really want to go to another car? I want the climate control, but I know that a car is a depreciating asset. So I have to be mindful of the car is not 30 grand too. It's 40 grand pretty much, 38,000 before negotiation. So I have to think about that. And if God forbid I get laid off, my whole goal is, I don't know if I want to go back into the corporate world. I mean, I'm burnt out. I've been working since I was 17. I'm burnt out, man. But at the same time, I know that I'm going to have to keep working, but I want to have more options if God forbid something happens. And if I keep my expenses low, then I can do that. Now, again, a car is still relatively low, but if you look at, right, the car is 38 grand, so just say 40, but if you want to negotiate and say 30, that's fine. If you say 30 grand for a car, but 100 grand for an RV lot, and you get a mortgage on it, that's 70 grand difference. Okay, now the RV lot's going to go up in value. You're always going to have a place to park. The car is going to go down in value, and you still have to have a place to park. So in one sense, that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? The only thing the car does that the RV lot doesn't do is it gives you a higher level of flexibility. So that's what you have to be conscious of. And that's how you get caught in a rat race, man. Because it is easier to buy a car. Like, I can go to a car lot today and get a car loan or do whatever. So could you if you have a job. The problem is, that's how you get caught in a rat race. The average car payment in America is $500. And then if you add the average rent, and then if you add food, and then if you add insurances, you're right at the average expenses for a person are probably $3,000 a month. Okay? And that's why 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. So you have to actually put a lot of effort into not falling into that bucket. And even if, you make good money or whatever, if you ever been through life, you ever been laid off, you realize how easily that can stop. And I don't know, man. But you're right. I'm not saying you're right. It's just these are things I think about. And that's how I try to work it out in my mind. Tony. Hello, Ernie. Good to see you. Cameron. I will got protection this time. Oh, protection for the escorts? Tony's laughing. Pizza guy. Would an occasional extended stay in a hotel be a solution? It's an option. It is an option. That's a good point. I don't like hotels, man. I don't know why. Like I said, in one sense, I said to myself, like, these past few weeks have been great camping weather. So it's really not the weather that affects me at this point in the cycle of the seasons of the year. In the winter in Florida, it's great camping weather. What affects me is the long-term vision for my life, okay? Because again, like, that's what I look at with a car. Like, if I go to an extended stay, yeah, that's great for a couple days, but in my mind, this is how my mind works, I'm thinking about, all right, well, I'm here for 7 days or even 10 days, but that I'm thinking about, I know how quick 10 days goes. Then what? Then it's like, you spend 10 days in a hotel kind of like for nothing. So when you have no home base, no property, and you're a full nomad, there's something in your mind that you're always going to wrestle with if you decide not to get a home base, that you're never fully settled. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing, because I've owned a property. I know that there's pain there. So, but I'm trying to tell you from both experiences, there's no perfect answer in life. And for me, the extended stay in a hotel would only be an option if, God forbid, I got really sick or hurt. But for me, just to get a break, unless it was extreme weather, it wouldn't serve a good enough purpose that I would do it. Lila. I saw Zillow 1,243 with house, pool, Venice, Florida. With my friend, moved there, pay insurance on the house, the whole tire package, water and sewer and power bill. Well, I like the fact that they got the other bills included, so it sounds like you'd only have to pay that 1,200 or so. So that's not bad. Dave, love and big respect, Sammy. Well, same to you. Whatever you finally decide will work out because you think it through. Basically, from what I understand. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that positive comment. Thank you, Dave. Kristen, the tiny house that I'm staying is an Airbnb. Sometimes renting a place temporarily is a good way to figure out what you want. I totally agree. Sam, tiny houses are sweet. No, they are. The biggest problem with tiny houses, if you own one, is the insurances, especially in Florida. Florida has the highest home insurance in America. And that never goes away. It always goes up. It's like taxes. So that's the recurring cost. And so that's the negative about tiny houses. And they tend to not appreciate like a single family house. Mayrose, have you thought of a teardrop? I have thought of that. Your Jeep could tow? Yes, I have. You can put an AC in them. Yeah, Marios, I have thought about it. It's a good comment. The problem with that is I can't stand up. So I say to myself, Sam, you would solve climate control with a teardrop. However, you're going to tow something. I really don't want to tow something. And I always have to be at a campground because you're not going to take a teardrop trailer and stealth park. So that means I'm always going to be at a campground. Now, I can use 1,000 trails, but then I'm going to have more in gas, more wear and tear on my Jeep. And there are limitations with 1,000 trails, and 1,000 trails camping grounds. They're not everywhere I want to be. So now I'm going to lock myself into campground fees each month, more gas, pulling a vehicle. I say all that for air conditioning. I would be better off to either then get the Prius or get a home base. So, yeah, that's the problem with them. I looked at that. Juliana, I've spent money to make sleeping in my car I own more luxurious. Well, that's wisdom. Sleeping is wisdom for your health. And comfortable, still much cheaper than buying a new vehicle. That's true. And a tow bar with a travel trailer or RV. You're right. That's why I kind of get stuck where I'm at. Good comment, Juliana. Lila, if you do get Uber, go from Venice, Florida to Sarasota, Florida. Oh, it costs you $600 to $1,000. That's a lot. Thank you for sharing. Kristen, the thought of going back to work and dealing with people literally makes me sick. It's not easy. I think that's why I was in a dark place the last few days. It's a struggle. Wish me luck finding a job. Work blows. It does. The only thing that blows worse than work is having bills and not having money coming in. And I fear that because I'm out here on my own. Look, when I decided to sell my house and live in my car, I cut off my father. Every time you cut someone off, you're going to face consequences, okay? So, I lost that resource. I lost that inheritance. And, I'm a little bit isolated. At the same time, I designed my life like that. So I like being independent, okay? The problem with independence is you're going to have to go out there and do for yourself. And I'd rather do that than be entangled in a relationship. That's true. May West. Hey, Sam. May, once you live in your car for a few nights, a hotel room is a joke. Yeah, I totally agree with that comment. Good to see you, May. Yeah, in my mind, I'm in the same agreement. Yeah, I mean, unless you're sick or there's extreme weather, the hotel is pretty much a waste of money, in my opinion, Luke. Well, I think you're still middle-aged. Well, I am technically 40 years old. Half my life is over. Average life expectancy is 80. So keep doing the car living. I kind of think the same thing. And saving money next 3 to 5 years. By mid-40s, get an RV lot and chill. Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking too, Luke. Then your mom can come down if she wants and have a little peace of mind. Well, that's something I struggle with. Because I don't know if my mom will be alive then. I mean, I can't assume that. My mom's 73. She's overweight. She's got diabetes. So I say to myself, in that I'm going to race the time. So if I say to myself, if I get a home base right away, if she did decide to come, she can come down right away. However, my mom, I got 2 other siblings. I don't think my mom would leave New Jersey. She may if she had to, but her doctors are up there. My other siblings are up there. So the reality of her coming down here is not guaranteed. And I don't want to buy a house for someone else if I don't want it, and then her not come down here, and then it'd be a disaster. So that's the dynamic. Tiffany, help me, guys. I'm struggling picking a place to live. She goes, I'm dying inside. Anyone, Florida or Utah, please help. Well, the problem with that is no one is going to be able to determine what you like. You have to visit it. You have to find a job in that area, and then you have to take accountability for if it goes right or wrong. And that's why you're scared, and I understand. When in doubt, keep it simple, but no one, including your parents, can tell you where to live. So the biggest thing I can tell you is find where you can secure an income, visit the area, keep your commitments low, and if you like the area, then you purchase. The Big Easy. Positive vibes and God bless. Well, thank you for that, Big Easy. Tom. Hey, Sam. How's it going over there in paradise? Well, I had a bad day, but it is still paradise. You still have bad days in paradise. So, but I'm thankful. I have a lot to be thankful for. And I am blessed to be in Florida. I'm blessed to have my health. Hopefully you had a good day in California. And hopefully everybody, if you had a good or bad day, I thank you for watching. Appreciate all love. Thank you, Kristen and Cameron. Keep doing your thing, guys. Pray for all those out there hurting. Kristen, love to everyone in this chat, especially you, Samuel. Same to you, Kristen. You'll be okay. Just take life one day at a time. Thank you, guys. God bless you. Have a positive night. Appreciate you.